Ah, there you are, ghoulies. And look, wow, I've never seen a close-up like that. That's pretty scary. I don't know. They're doing some strange things back here. You know, it's funny, you know, you get a big-time guest in the studio, and all of a sudden you got your whole crew back.
Isn't it remarkable?
It is remarkable. But I really think that is, you know, now, I guess we can't, once a president's a president, they always refer to him as president.
Yes.
That's not the case? You're not still Mayor Antaramian?
Well, a lot of people will still call you mayor.
It seems natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems real natural.
The only time you have a problem is when you have a bunch of old retired mayors in the same room.
Okay. That's got to be interesting. Well, speaking of old retired mayors, I hear they're kind of trying to take a shot at you that you're only interested in being mayor for 2 years in Kenosha because you're going to become governor.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper the other day and I started to laugh. It's like, this is the best job in the world, being mayor. Why would you want to do anything else? So I want, on your show, we're going to do this. We're putting this rumor to rest. I am not running for governor.
You heard it here exclusively on Dr. Destruction's
You now have it.
No governor, and that it was brought up just yesterday again, and I said no because I attended your little party the other night. Jeff Boz threw a very nice little meet and greet, which was, I thought, very cool. And you actually gave us 3 hours, I think I was on the clock, of serious talk about the city and then a little bit of fun afterwards. And I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, we had a good time on talking some movies. So
yeah, movies? I can't remember which one we were laughing about. Somebody help us here. But I have so many of those conversations, it's really easy to forget about. You know, what do you think was one of the more challenging mayoral races, or any elected race that you've done? What was the one that you thought was really
most challenging? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's tough. They're always different. Every one of them is different than the previous one. I think probably the most exciting race that I had was the first one, which had a lot of people involved. I think there were like 8 of us who were running initially. So that was probably the most interesting one on that basis. But the most fun one was with you.
Well, I was going to ask you, what was your strangest mayoral race?
Strange or fun, depends how you
Yeah, but that Schuler came in there and ruined the whole thing.
He eked you out at the last moment.
Yes, he did, because nobody knew me as well as they know me now. But obviously, Schuler, whatever happened to him?
He passed away not too that long
ago. I'm sorry to hear that. But Schuler was a rival of mine, in a sense, way before any of this, because he owned Tri-County Disposal. Okay. It was a garbage truck line, and he was a fierce competitor to Hartung Disposal, who I worked at when I was 18 years old. And I did a couple miserable winters, I think, at least, of being on the back of a garbage truck. Everybody should try it once, but I knew the family, and it was basically the dad and the father. It was the dad and his son-in-law, and the son-in-law cut tendons in his hand, so they needed somebody. And I used to find a lot of cool stuff. It was county routes, though.
But riding those trucks are not fun. I don't think people don't realize the abuse on your body you take with the.
Well, you definitely, when you bump your knee on the end of a garbage truck, you understand how tough that metal really is. But it was one of those experiences, and I just love being outdoors. So definitely. Now, downtown Kenosha.
Yes.
Some things you think are going to have to come down, maybe.
There are some buildings that need to be taken out. They need to be torn down. Sites cleaned up. We need to get more people downtown again. Mm-hmm. Harbor Park worked really well in the sense of getting people down here and enabling us to get some small retail to come in, some restaurants and bars type of things happening. But something that I don't think any of us expected was with Harbor Park, we ended up with 2 groups of people that no one had anticipated. One group was single professional women who lived in Chicago, or lived here and worked in Chicago. And that was a group that we did not anticipate when we started this. And the other group were snowbirds. You have a huge number of people who live here during the summer and the fall and are gone for 5 months for the winter. And so you don't have enough mass of people to keep the downtown as active as it needs to be. So we need to get more people downtown. So one of the things you can look at happening is more market rate apartments to come into the downtown. Mm-hmm. Quality apartments coming in, more quality apartments coming in. Those type of things will help stimulate the small businesses in the downtown then.
Well, now there has been some new apartments that have gone up, just in the past few years,
Yep.
and so there should be. You would think there'd be more of a base for the downtown. I know a lot of people were arguing, why don't you move the Harbor Market to the downtown? And I just don't think you'd get that same open air experience that you
Right.
get. And I think I know that some of the neighbors that weren't happy with that, but it's not like they live on 50th Street and 7th Avenue 7 days a week and deal with some real issues, But I think it works where it is, and just you're shading yourself with a downtown because of the tall buildings,
Right.
but
I live down there, so and we love the market there because you walk out and just kind of wander through and you get to talk to people and see.
It's a
and the
great-
market is so cool. It's just one of those things that just enjoy.
Well, obviously one of Kenosha's success stories.
Absolutely. And at one time, when it first started, we actually looked at going downtown, and there was a lot of concern that the downtown folks had of parking, and so they weren't excited to have it on 6th Avenue in those days. So that's why it went out by the museums, and it just has taken off. And it would not make any sense to move something now. When you have a successful program in place, you don't change it.
No, it's huge, and a lot of people that have moved to Kenosha, they just love it. They just love Kenosha in general. We've got one of the guys that runs one of the biggest horror movie conventions in the United States. He moved to Kenosha now, so that's nice because he comes and visits the Crimson Theater.
So does that mean that when things work out and I'm back in office, that the two of you are going to come and visit me?
What, for a proposed horror convention?
For coffee.
Well, for coffee, sure, I hope so.
And then you can tell me all the things I need to do.
I hope I hope we can stay in the loop, but I'm definitely I'm down for any support, with anything to do with the arts, of course, and getting more art shows, that sort of thing. And we've got a lot of the traditional stuff that the Art Association does, and
Right.
and it's guess it's a little bit on the crafty side. It's to really fine art is a kind of a harder sell, obviously. If from the Shakespearean experience that but I'd like to see that change. And recently we have the group with the theater, that for the keynote coming down and whatnot, and it's like, I kind of wanted to point them in the direction of we've got local theater going on at the Rhodey.
Right.
You've got a beautiful theater inside the now Ruther building, not to mention two colleges that really can put on some straight up great performances.
Well, and actually one of the programs I intend to bring back is I don't know if you remember this now. We used to have what was called the Youth Employment in the Arts program, called YAY. And young people would go to school part-time during the summer, picking up credits that they needed, and we'd hire a couple of art teachers and a couple of art students. And then we'd hire a number of these young people, and they would do public art. And do you know, to this day, and we ran the program for 10 years before when I left, the program stopped. But for 10 years, we ran the program. Not one piece of artwork was ever damaged. And it's all public. It's accessible. Anyone could get at it. Never has one piece been damaged.
And I wonder if some of the graffiti artists might actually have respect for that artwork, and considering they consider what they're doing art. It's just what they choose for a canvas that can be the problem. But
so that's the kind of a program you'd like to bring back, along with, and I will be honest, I am a bit of though I have no artistic ability at all. I draw stick people. I mean, I really do. That's about the extent of my art. But I have two children, I shouldn't call them children anymore, two young adults, who both love and do art. And to me, we have to encourage the artistic aspect of this community. It is a part of the community. It is part of the culture of it. It's what makes living here good. And so you need to have that. So you have a supporter in that sense of
that's really good to know, because there's got to be, there's other ideas. There's all these different, like I said, in these convention circuit, you've got this interest in anime. We have an anime store downtown. There's the cosplay, which is basically people doing things with costumes. Then did anime? Did I already say anime? Yes, I did. But then there's
But you like anime, so you want to do that.
I like all of it. I mean, and then there's the furries. And there's all these different things, and if we could,
I had never heard of the furries.
I had not either until that someone called in a false terrorist attack at a furry convention or something back in Chicago. But no, I had some furries come out to the pumpkin farm and visit me, and this girl had this wonderful like spider costume, and it had strings she was pulling to make the mouth open and close. And the amount of time that they put into this, it's just amazing. All these people, between the makeup and the costuming, and there's such a huge interest, and it's such a, it's a creative outlook, and definitely like to see stuff like that happening in Kenosha. Because it's fun. It's gonna draw people. Where I don't know, we'd have a place that's big enough. You could do something probably at the harbor side. I know they've tried some, and then you've got. It's too bad the Renaissance Fair is so far out of the way to be part of downtown in some way too.
Though I always chuckle about that when people say things on the interstate are so far away. If you lived in Milwaukee or you lived in Chicago, you live in any major city, it's 9 miles, people.
Well, that's I didn't mean it that way.
We can get there easy enough, honest.
There was an event that happened. I think this is actually like the reenactors, so they've got the rubber swords and stuff, but they had like 1,000 knights battling on Simmons Island for some event. And they didn't make it public enough. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the rendezvous.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. I've got pictures of it. I'll send them over to you.
Send me. I'd be
I had
curious.
my photographer. I told her to head over there.
Because any kind of things that you can do on the lakefront or in other places to get people involved and get them there, it's just good. It's a positive aspect.
I thought one of the most fun and exciting things is with there was the tall ships and the rendezvous was going on at the same time. And we were working at the Renaissance Fair, so we went straight down there with our costumes on from that, and then it got night. Next thing you know, there was even a fireworks display. I think that might have been the biggest tall ship event that went on, and that was incredible.
The tall ships were really neat, and I'd like to get them back again, but we have some harbor issues that we have to take care of, and we're going to do that. But it's something that we should be doing again. It was a wonderful draw. We had thousands of people, tens of thousands of people.
Oh, right. I mean, they're just loving that lakefront. They're already, with the nice weather, they're already up and down there. And anybody that remembers back in the day, I mean, I remember there was a ship sinking one time. And then the big rusty Japanese ships would come in, because I'd be fishing with my dad out there. Actually, when they started the marina, he got very upset with Pat Moran on the phone a couple of times because they were ruining his fishing. I don't think he'd be happy with the fishing situation right now, but he's long past. But anyway, so I remember the old factory down there, and I also remember that on the north side of the bridge of where the marina is now, there was like a half-sunk fishing boat there for years, just half submerged. I mean. So the cleanup, people don't realize. They'll come here now, they have no clue to how industrial and the town really looked.
Actually, when the city finally took that property, Harbor Park, you could stand in the middle of that site and you couldn't see the lake because all the buildings had been torn down, but it was just like an old bombed out area. They just had taken the rubble and just kind of filled in the holes. You literally could be in the middle of that site and not be able to see the lake because of the way. Rubble and everything.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's just incredible. Anybody that sees the difference in how much brighter Kenosha looks, with a lot of that happened under your, you had 16 years, right?
16 years.
Wow, 16 years. And how many more are we going for now this time?
We do 4 years at a time.
Okay, it's a one day at a time kind of a job, huh?
Not quite a one day at a time, but 4 years at a time.
4 years at a time. And so, what's your thought on some of now? There's only one alderman that's sitting in the council now that actually was there when you were there.
Two.
There's two. Okay, and they're squabbling and some funny things have happened.
Well, I always think that one of my strengths is the ability to get people together and to work together. And I've told all the aldermen, I've talked to all of them at different times. I mean, it doesn't matter who they're supporting or what decisions they're making. There are a couple of very simple rules that I really do believe in. One is, I won't surprise you. If something is going on, they're going to know about it so that they don't have to read it in the press or a constituent calls them out and says, did you know this is going on? That's not fair to them. And so I always am a firm believer that you have to make sure people know what's going on. But on the same token, I expect the same respect. I expect them not to surprise me. If there's something going on, if they're going to run to the press and do something, at least give me a heads up so that I know about it, and then do what you got to do. It's okay. But the other part of I think that's so important is that, and it's actually very simple. That is just we're going to follow Robert's Rules of Order at the council meetings, and with that, everybody will treat each other with respect, or I'll give them out of order. And You know, it's anyone who's served with me knows the process I use. It's a very simple one, and I've never had a problem with it. People respect those type of things.
I've paid a lot of attention to the council meetings. I watch them at home, and I watched a lot of things the way you handle them. So, and I like that. And but I did pay attention, you know, and so looking forward to seeing some changes there. Now, Rebecca, you're from a younger generation. What are some things you'd like to see happen in Kenosha?
I mean, a revival of the arts in Kenosha just sounds amazing. I actually didn't know that they did any sort of like opera performances at the museum. I mean, I would be totally up for going to a performance like that. But yeah, just anything and like reviving the downtown area just in general. All of that sounds really great.
Yeah, I think it needs to. I'd like to see it look a little more touristy. I've always, you know, I'm a big fan of the old Wisconsin Dells, the old downtown. I have some pictures on my Facebook. The Dells before it was Vegas, you know, because that other strip over there, that was never really like that back then, and
it really was very different.
You know,
You're
and
right.
then you know you've got your haunted house, you got your Ripley's, believe it or not. Now, I don't know how.
Didn't they have that place where they had a ball that would roll uphill?
Yeah. Oh, the Wonder Spot.
Wonder
They
Spot.
must have built the whole thing on angles.
I know,
You know what I mean?
But it's when you're a kid.
But, I wish we could get some of that. That's such a cool vibe, and if you go on that whole little trip around Wisconsin to you know, between the Dells, Baraboo, and then House on the Rock. Have you ever been to House on the
Been
Rock?
to all of those places.
What House on the
Circus
Rock is
Museum.
just, you know, we were talking earlier about the mural I did, you know, the information on who's in the picture.
Right.
But House on the Rock doesn't really give you any of that. You're on your own. I mean, you just come to a room and it's nothing but glass clacks for like row after row after row. I mean, that place is just, I don't know how to describe it.
You can't describe it. It's just one of those things you have to see, and it's just very unique as to a building.
Yeah, but if you've never been to House on the Rock, you're missing out. But
However, we've talked about your mural, and you really do have to, you know, put a key of some type in there.
I'll have to work on that.
This is now going to happen is in 6 months. I'm going to get back to you, and I'm going to find out did you.
Okay, you're gonna find. All right, he's gonna see. Oh, now I'm on the radar.
So actually, I'll tell you what. 6 months from now, if you want me back, I'll come back, because then you're going to have to show me you did it.
Okay, we'll have to do a live broadcast from Dallas Tavern, huh?
Wherever.
That's an interesting business. But yeah, well, that mural got started, and it's just continuing over a course of years. I guess it's going to end up being the biggest thing I ever did once it's done, even though I wish I would have thought about what we're. I didn't know what he just keeps wanting me to paint, so as long as he's paying, I'm painting. That's what I got to do.
That works.
It is. It's fun. Now, well, anything else down now? If you could talk directly to the voters, to the ghoulies out there. The ghoulies vote. They vote, and yeah, they're watching right now. You know, to the average person, say that isn't interested in politics or doesn't vote. What would you tell them to make them realize how important it is and a responsibility that it is as well?
Well, your community isn't going to look anything that you want it to look like if you don't get out and vote. If you don't get out and vote, people will do what they wish to do when they're in office. If you don't determine who that person's going to be, then you are stuck with whatever someone else has decided for you. And you can't do that. You have to be the responsible party. It's your responsibility to look at what people are saying, make a determination, and then stay involved. Get involved in a committee. You know, there are tons of committees